Now, Government will this week host its inaugural Women's Economic Assembly to discuss and find solutions to the economic hardships facing women in our country. Now, the Assembly will bring under one roof public and private stakeholders to discuss and come up with solutions on how to best economically elevate women. Now, this as government has conceded that while progress has been made to promote gender equality in government and other spheres, the same cannot be said about economic inclusion. So to tell us more about the Women's Economic Assembly, we are joined by Dr. Futhi Mtoba, who will co-chair the Assembly. Dr. Mtoba, thanks for your time. Welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning, Sekina, and the listeners this morning.
Dr. Mtoba, let's just start by locating this. So we have the Department of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities, and their mandate is, of course, to advance women's socioeconomic empowerment, among other things, and also to promote gender equity. How does this Women's Economic Assembly fit into that?
Thank you very much for that question. So the whole initiative is aligned to the growth strategy of the country and the recovery of South Africa and also of the continent. Because at the moment, this is what we need in this country. We have to create, as a country, a bigger pie. We have to go back to where we were before we were knocked down by the junk status, the pandemic, and create the growth that is necessary. So that is the full agenda. However, in this growth that we all want to achieve, this initiative wants to make sure that the women are full participants as we rebuild our country.
The question then is, Dr. Mtoba, which women? Because when we talk about inclusion, it's not only about women being included at the bigger table, but also at forums such as these. So who will be participating?
What I would like to outline on the onset is that the initiative itself, which means the event that we are having, is not the whole initiative. The initiative is about full participation of women in the economy as far as the labor market is concerned, as far as being a part of businesses, and as far as being employers, wherever they find themselves in the economy of this country. That is why, subsequent to the announcement of the National Strategic Plan and the government's commitment to 40% procurement by government from women-owned business, we saw this as an opportunity to address the economic empowerment of women in a targeted and very deliberate and sustainable manner. What do I mean by this? What I mean is that we saw this as an opportunity to look at the sector supply chains, break them down, analyze them, and see where can women participate. So if you just consider the supply value, the sector value chains, they will rank from a big business up to the smallest one, which provides an opportunity for women, whether they are rural, urban, as you mentioned, to then be able to participate.
And I suppose all of that will be outlined. But if we take a look at some statistics now, according to Stats SA's Informal Economy Report 2013 to 2019, that research showed that when gender is factored in, that non-formal business registration influences women's credit history, it influences their ability to borrow funds for startups and expansions of their businesses. And in turn, what it also also shows is that it can restrict business growth and access to business development services and opportunities. So how will a forum such as this, and I understand that you say that it goes beyond just the forum, but how does an initiative like this respond to some of these challenges that women face in the informal sector especially?
So our intention is that this initiative is a facilitator, but the players themselves, for the first time, will be the women, in that we are identifying what the challenges are and then how to, working with industry, how to address them. And also, because it is a collaboration of the private sector, government, and civil society, you have the players in the room who are able to listen to each other and create that enabling environment. Because as you know, the biggest issue for women is access. The biggest issue is also information asymmetry. The biggest issue also is just understanding what the opportunities are and how to access them. And this is then our desire to participate and therefore provide that information at the same time, creating real opportunities where women can participate.
So just in terms of assessing where we are at in terms of women accessing these opportunities. So, for example, last year, government announced that at least 40% of public sector procurement will go to women-owned businesses. Have we had opportunity to track that, to assess whether this indeed happened? And also, is that enough to achieve economic empowerment for women?
That is a very great question, and actually this initiative is a response to that. But what we are doing is that instead of just assuming that there will be statistics and there will be that the analysis, that's exactly what we are doing. We are asking industries to say, through your value sectors, analyze where women are currently participating at the moment, draft an action plan of how you intend them participating and which are the areas of entry. The reason we are approaching that is that we understand that because of the structural nature of our economy, you will find areas where women have no capacity to enter. And we want that measured in itself. We'll say, how are you building capacity? How are you building skills? How are you creating opportunities? So that we can understand this based on facts and statistics. We will be launching a measurement tool as well in order to be able to measure that entry. And to just refer back to your issue around the rural economy, in the program itself, we will be addressing how, what are the government plans on the informal economy or the township economy, the strategy for addressing that.
And I do believe, Dr. Mtoba, that it's important that we do track all of these commitments by government, because otherwise it gives credence to some of the critiques that assemblies such as these are mere talk shops. If we can't come out and say, okay, this is what government said last year, how much have we achieved in terms of that 40% procurement spend that would go to women-owned businesses? How much of it actually went to women-owned businesses? Because if we go back, for example, in 2015, former President Jacob Zuma, he released the first report on the status of women in the South African economy. So if we look at that and we track where we've come since then, what new opportunities have emerged since then? And have these been inclusive for all women and for all women entrepreneurs?
The truth of the matter is that if you haven't measured that, you are not going to be able to answer exactly the question that you raise. And that is what we want to start from today and say, never mind what happened yesterday. Can we just measure today where we are, where we are going and how we are going to get there as far as this agenda is concerned. And the beauty is that South Africans, whether it's the women themselves, the private sector and civil society, are prepared to work with the initiative along these lines of having concrete statistics that we can talk about so that we understand the issues and we really know what as a country we need to address, because it is important that we all as South Africans grow this economy.
And I think without belaboring this point unnecessarily, Dr. Mtoba, the importance of that cannot be overemphasized, because you have a whole department, a whole ministry that is tasked with looking at the interest of women, among others. And surely this information should be available. It should be at our fingertips. The fact that it isn't, in my view, speaks to the point that we really don't take these things as seriously as we should. We talk about them because it's the right thing to do. We are, basically touching the right points in terms of making the right noises. But we clearly are not too serious, even as women, about tracking what actually has been done for women, what is accruing in terms of this empowerment that we are seeking to achieve. So I just want your view on that, because I find it actually quite, bothersome that we still cannot give specifics in terms of what has been done and what the actual statistics are.
So our attitude is in understanding exactly that. Then the initiatives and the South Africans are saying, going forward, we have to understand these issues. And platforms like yourselves are very important in also keeping us honest, because we should be coming back and saying, this was the status of the statistics the previous year, and this is what has happened. And we really want to achieve that, working with and supporting the ministry, because this is not a problem of the department. It's the South Africa problem, and all of us working together, we can do more to achieve this.
We can, and we should. But is it possible, Dr. Mtoba, that women can enjoy economic inclusivity and participation while we are still dealing with gender pay disparities, for example? Because these are the real issues that affect women every day on a very real level.
I like that question very much, because this is exactly what the initiative it intends to catalyze, in that we will be looking at the holistic participation of the women in economy, and also creating an environment where women can make choices, whether they want to remain in employment, they want to join, they want to own their own and run their own businesses, and they want to be employers themselves. So in that case, we will be looking at the statistics regarding the gender pay gap. What is that difference? We will also be measuring what opportunities are created, and also measuring what the women-owned enterprises, what sort of jobs are they creating, in order to address holistically the growth of the country.
Dr. Futhi Mtoba, we are out of time, but thanks so much for your time this morning. Dr. Futhi Mtoba is the co-chairperson of the Women's Economic Assembly that will be taking place. This is the inaugural Women's Economic Assembly being launched by President Cyril Ramaphosa tomorrow to seek a common action in the advancement of women participation in our country's economy. With that, it's time.